What's up, my people? Thank you for checking in. As always, I'm your file player, and you stepped into the file play land. I wanted to make a short video regarding the situation with Jarrell Big Baby Miller being caught for a PED suspension. Don't have the name of the drug in front of me. I know it's from what I've read, it's a PED that's intended for use of using fat rather than carbohydrates to to supply your body with energy, pretty much. So normally your body would use simple sugars or carbs to use as a immediate source of energy, but rather than do that, I guess it uses fat. I know it was banned, probably because of the its enhancing effects, but also I think there was a problem because it was linked to cancer with the when it was tested on mice. But regardless, Dylan White gets popped. The immediate irony in that is that the fact that Dylan White was calling out AJ for doing the same thing, which I wouldn't be surprised if AJ did the same thing, because AJ's record's not too sparkling when it comes to him getting drug tested himself. And the UK's rules with drug testing, I know, vary or are a little bit less strict than they are here in the United States. But also, and the reason that I'm delighted that all this happened is because we're now in April and the fight was supposed to take place in June. Now, I mean, I may hear from some purists that, it's another fight that doesn't get made, which I could agree with your sentiments to a degree. But at this point, the DAZN, Eddie Hearn, Anthony Joshua, they're stopping me from seeing the best fight that's out there being made, which is, as you all know, Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua. And this was one of the fights that I think was made in an attempt for Anthony Joshua not to fight Deontay Wilder and other good opponents that he could have fought instead of Jarrell Big Baby Miller. But sometimes little bits like this make me think that the gods do exist, because a lot of people that root for Anthony Joshua were delighted when the Fury rematch wasn't being made. And I'm not saying that they blamed Deontay Wilder and all that, because it was an obvious duck job by Tyson Fury, but they were just happy just because that fight wasn't being made. Now, this fight is a way lesser caliber here, but the implications were large because it was Anthony Joshua's first fight here in America. He had to cancel another date to fight Dillian White or another opponent at the Wembley Arena, and thus the reason that we were given this fight here in America at the Madison Square Garden. So it seems like, they always try to make these moves to kind of change the narrative or deceive people as to why the Deontay Wilder match is not being made, or why AJ gets to avert better competition, and that's with Luis Ortiz, with Tyson Fury, with even Dillian White. And I'm not a big Dillian White fan. I think there's a couple heavyweights that could beat Dillian White at this very moment. But even with him, they kind of ducked out of making that fight, and they probably did that with the reasoning that they were trying to make headway into the American market by fighting someone that nobody knows in America. And I could tell you this, being from Brooklyn, nobody knows Jarrell Baby Miller, and he's from Brooklyn. But a lot of these moves they made, and they're really short-sighted. And to me, they have that intent of trying to throw the consumers off, or us, the boxing consumer, off, and making it seem that they're making an effort to make big fights happen or to break into a certain market, all the while like not making the biggest fight happen. And when it implodes, as it has today, I mean, I can only take joy in that. I mean, they'll probably find a replacement fighter with in Adam Kaunacki, I'm hearing. That actually, to me, is a little bit better fight than Big Baby Miller, to be frank. I actually think that Kaunacki could beat Miller. I think they both have good stamina for big dudes. Who knows? Adam Kaunacki might be fucking with the Jews too, man, because they run in the same circle. Then they're actually good friends. But Adam Kaunacki just looks like a pile of dough, where Big Baby Miller actually, though he was a bigger guy, he actually had a frame to him. He actually had muscle, if you will. But Adam Kaunacki is a similar fighting style as far as having stamina. But I think Adam Kaunacki is actually a better fighter than Big Baby Miller. I've said it before in other people's live streams. But whatever have you. I mean, if that's the fight that gets made, I'll actually be happy because it's a better fight. And I'm not going to front like I won't watch these fights, because I don't pay for most fights. The last fight I paid for was Deontay Wilder, and before that, it's been years since I paid for fights, because I'm not going to be that kind of a customer anymore, unless it's something that I really, really like, or it's somebody who I'm really supporting. But most of these fights I'm watching on YouTube maybe a minute or two after they happen in high definition. So I mean, like, I'm not losing out as far as regardless of who he's fighting. I mean, because it's not the top fight anyway. I mean, to me, a top fight for Anthony Joshua would be, my short list is Tyson Fury, Tyson Fury, Wilder, and Luis Ortiz. Dillian White, to me, is not a top fight, but I would watch it on YouTube, free, not paying for it. But again, I mean, I digress. Like, I'm delighted that this stuff happens. I love when things implode in the face of Matchroom. Now, people are gonna try to change the narrative or try to convince the masses as to, this happened because Miller was scared of Joshua. Could be, but I think Miller's been fucking with the juice for a while. Ever since he fought that guy Vanich, I think his name is, and I know he fought him in I think 2017 in Long Island, and that was actually one of the first fights that I watched of Big Baby Miller's, like live, like intent, like we're actually looking for him or looking for his fight. But I know that fight went 9 rounds and it was stopped at the end. But I know they were hitting each other like a whole bunch, and I thought Miller was had the potential to be fucking with the Jews then, because he already got bagged for fucking with the Jews before, and his output was just like too much. Like he was like trying to knock the guy out, and he was almost like leap punching him, like in the 8th and 9th rounds. Like, that's just like something you don't really see like from a big guy like that. And he doesn't have like a knockout power like that, so I think he was trying to put everything into it because he wasn't getting hit back in the latter round, or he wasn't getting hit with much. So I think he was trying to walk out of there with a knockout, and he was just putting everything into these punches, like to the point where he was like jumping off the ground damn near, and he didn't knock him out. It was actually stopped, but he had like the same work rate from like literally like rounds like 1 to like 9 in that fight. So I thought it was a potential to be juicing then, but whatever have you. I mean, I think his career is kind of shot unless he becomes a sole shit talker and like draws a fight here and there, a la Shannon Briggs. Like I can't see, and I mean I think he's less refined speaker than what Shannon Briggs is, and that's not saying much. But I think Big Baby Miller's career is by and large over. Man, whatever, not missing much. It's a fledgling top 10 fighter at best. Like, you know, who cares to me? I mean, and honestly too, I mean, I've heard a narrative even within my circle, like within the LDVC, that Miller had a good chance at beating AJ. I don't think so. I think Miller's ass, and I don't like AJ one iota, but I'm not gonna switch it up and talk out of my ass just because I don't like a guy. I thought Big Baby Miller had very little chance of beating AJ. Stamina aside, you know, he can't punch, doesn't set up his shots really well. Like, the only good quality he had was the fact that he's like a bigger dude and he didn't use his body well, or use his body weight well, and he still couldn't punch. I mean, I just didn't see him lasting like to the latter portion of a fight to take advantage of that stamina. And he's never really fought somebody who couldn't hit him. You know, you're not gonna do that on the biggest stage, like for the first time, and come out victorious, like stamina, you know, aside. But it was a shit fight, and I'm glad it got. I'm glad it's bad news for Matchroom at the end of the day. I mean, it's a little bit of bad news for the boxing fans, but you're still gonna get another. More than likely gonna get a fight on that same date, no matter what. Still gonna be like the same crappy caliber as Miller versus AJ. So you're not losing much, like, you know. And I mean, the sentiment I've been hearing from the LEVC today has been pretty much in line with that. Like, it's more like joy rather than like a dampened mood because they lost the fight, because this fight wasn't shit at the end of the day. So no sweat off our asses. Well, that'll be all. Thanks for checking me out. Make sure you check for my videos, like even though I'm making them few and far between of late, but I'm gonna start making little bullshit videos where I can here and there. I'm gonna start doing non-boxing shit too, man. Like, boxing's fucking depressing sometimes. Please subscribe to my man Lowe's Dawkins, Michael Johnson, Boxing Talk and More. That's family, both those brothers. But make sure you check them out, and thanks for checking me out. Peace.